So with the rate at which AI is progressing and evolving, I often wondered, should I be worried as a software engineer of it taking my job? Should I prepare? Should I change jobs? What should I think, right? One side is saying AI will take over software jobs, and the other side is saying AI won't do that. The perspective I take is maybe it would, maybe it won't. I just don't know enough about the AI field to make a judgment, and more than that, I just can't predict the future at all, right? So the approach I take is, with where I'm at now, what can I do to prepare without spending a lot of effort changing directions completely, right? And in this video, I'm going to share with you my personal strategies that I use to stay afloat and prepared for whatever the future might come. Great, so the first step I'm taking is treating my career as 4-year projects. In my 20s, the first 4 years after graduating, I did a PhD in brain-computer interfacing. Along the side, I picked up mobile dev because we had to make some Android apps out of our research. After that 4 years, I decided, you know what, academia is not really for me. I need to jump to industry. So I used what I had then and leveraged that into the field that I was interested in, which involved me building Android and iOS apps alongside a side project in spatial computing. So the thread here is I'm treating my career as like short snaps, where I get to leverage on what I had built before and pivot direction slightly or drastically. The only thing certain about the future is that it will change, and the rate at which it will change, I believe, will be very fast going forward. So you gotta be nimble and prepared to pivot regularly, not stay attached with one career for your entire life. So that's the first step, right? Treating your career as 4-year projects and not 30-year projects. Now, speaking of projects, the second step is to gamble on side projects. In my experience, at least, side projects are immensely valuable. I've been doing side projects for the last 5, 6, 7 years. I can't even recall, but for a very long time. So during my PhD, I had a side project on gamifying my PhD work and creating an app out of it. During my time in industry, I had side projects which I'm still pursuing now, which is visionOS apps and courses, books, and educational materials around that. And what I found is what side projects lets you do is it helps you develop a lot of skills that you never would develop in a day job because it gives you that freedom to explore. I want to put a caveat to this. I believe you will only develop these skills only if you pursue side projects which you actually ship. For example, you could create an app that's 70% done and never ship because you got bored and you're just moving on to the next thing that you're curious about. Those kind of side projects never has any value. By building these side projects that you actually ship, you touch on a lot of skills that is very AI proof in my opinion. You learn creativity, innovation, you learn about marketing, sales, you learn about strategy, dealing with uncertainty, you learn about finding out problems that users have and solving it, creating real products of value. These are skills you develop over time by pursuing side projects you ship. Now, speaking of side projects, you might wonder what kind of side projects should I pursue, right? Obviously, I can't prescribe any side project that you should pursue. I can only talk from experience. This brings me to the third point, which is to focus on cutting edge technology. For example, me personally, I'm deep into spatial computing, which is cutting edge. And the reason why cutting edge helps is because cutting edge means there's less training data, and less training data means the model has less to learn from, which means it'll be more inaccurate. The harder it is for AI to automate whatever you're doing. So that's a good thing as well, if you focus something on the cutting edge. Other criteria is something that creates synergy between your day job, which brings me to the next point, which is to find a side project that complements your day job. For me personally, I have an iOS engineering day job, and on the side, I'm pursuing a visionOS business, right? So whatever I learned from my day job, iOS engineering, would improve my visionOS projects because again, both are Apple platforms. And whatever I learned from my side projects, visionOS, complements my day job. And both of them mixed together creates a beautiful flywheel effect where you're improving on both dramatically. Finally, the next point ties all of these together, which is to make sure you're skill stacking on top of each other. For example, I create YouTube videos, I create educational products like courses and apps as well, visionOS apps. So if you think of the skills all this entails, right? visionOS apps, you're learning something in the frontier knowledge, that's one. And then on top of that, courses and videos, which means I'm speaking to the camera, learning how to communicate well through stories and all that stuff. Then the business aspect of things, I'm learning on the side how to deal with company finances, accounts, how to listen to user needs and refine your feature ideas based on that, solve actual problems. If you just notice, these are like very different skill set that complements each other, and the moment you stack it on top of each other, it becomes something that's harder for AI to automate, right? AI may be able to automate the code side of things, but can it automate on top of that the business side, the communication side, the marketing side, the human side, combine them all together? It becomes harder. So my point is, find creative ways to skill stack in whatever projects you're pursuing, because the moment you have a stack of skills, I believe it creates more value in the marketplace. So that's skill stacking, which ties together all the previous points. Now, skill stacking in all of this is great, but let's assume the worst case scenario, right? AI takes over not just the low-level coding stuff, but also the high-level business proposition. There's an AI CEO, CTO, whatever. Just everything's taken over by AI. What I'm doing to prepare for an extreme scenario like that is to have a financial moat. This is the final thing, to have a financial moat. If you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever, as you progress through life, you'll be earning money, right? You'll be earning money through your day job, or if you have multiple income streams, for example, side project income, main job income, investment income, whatever you're earning should not just go out. That's just the worst way to live. Literally, I've seen so many people do that, and it's just such a bad way to live. Instead, what you want is what you're earning, you need to put a large portion of that to creating a financial moat for yourself. I have essentially 4 different bank accounts, right? I've got a business bank account where my income from my side projects go into, which has the highest growth potential because the ceiling's limitless. Then I've got an investment bank account, which is a Vanguard account where I have index fund settings, which kind of generates like 7 to 8% annually. And then third, I've got a savings account, which has 4% interest rate at the moment, but obviously that will change depending on inflation and stuff. Savings account is where I have my 1 year's of emergency fund, which I can access instantly. And then finally, I've got a daily account, or a current account, as you would call it in the UK, which is what I spend money daily on lifts. So what I do is quite simple, right? When I earn income, it goes into my daily account. So in my daily account, there's always just enough to live for 1 month, right? It's pretty scary, but it's what I do. And as soon as my income comes in, what I do is I put 60% of it immediately to my index fund account, which is the investment account. Why? Because I want majority of my income to be multiplying itself in a relatively safe financial account, right? Yeah, 8% interest is not exciting, but over the long run, it can grow into work optional amount. The principle is simple. Whatever you earn, majority of it, put it into an account where the money multiplies itself. That's principle 1. And principle 2, to have multiple income streams divided into conservative ones and high risk ones. So I got my conservative income streams, my day job, my index fund returns and all that stuff. And then I've got high risk, high return income stream, which is my side projects, right? They could go really large or really bad. So that's my strategy at least. And you might have your own unique mix of this, but whatever you do, try to have a financial moat, because in case AI comes over, you got money working for you. Now, the common thread through all of these strategies I'm using is that you are pivoting and playing a little game of chess where you're moving your pieces in your life a little bit here and there just to create a strategy for the future, right? Whether AI never takes over or whether the AI does take over, at the moment, we just don't know. We don't know where the future will go. The only thing you can do is prepare in a very strategic way and be nimble. So hope that helps, and I'll see you soon.